everyone, it's me Holly. Welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be giving you guys some advice for starting sixth form / college. So anyone going into year 12, this video may be useful to you, and I'm just going to be discussing all the frequently asked questions, all the things that I wanted to know, and just things that will make your life going into sixth form a lot easier. I like to think that knowledge is power, and being prepared for something will just make it so much easier for you in the long run because you know what's coming. I'll be leaving some timestamps in the description if there's any particular questions that you want to go to, but I do advise watching the whole video because obviously I'm going to be talking about a lot of things included in each section and you don't want to really miss out on anything. Without any further ado, let's just get into the video. So first of all, the whole change from going to GCSEs to sixth form is scary, and I just want people to allow themselves to feel nervous about it. Don't feel frightened or anything like that. If you are feeling that way, please do, put a comment down below if you need any advice or anything like that. But it is normal to feel nervous about these things. You're always going to feel in the slightest way worried about what's to come because it's kind of an unknown. If you've never been in a sixth form before, you're not really going to know what it's like. Allow yourself to feel nervous. Don't be pushing that away because it will just get worse. But also try and find excitement from it because it's a new era for you. It's a new time. You can move on from whatever happened in secondary school and you can go to either a new sixth form, new college, or stay at the same school but have kind of a different atmosphere and vibe. My secondary school, it wasn't somewhere I felt 100% comfortable. However, I made the decision to stay there and it was one of the best decisions I made. So if you are worried about your decision that you made, it's normal to feel nervous, but just wait it out until you get there. Because in your mind, not being there right now, you're on your summer holidays, in your mind it's a lot worse than it really is. And if it still isn't what you expect and what you want, maybe think more about that and maybe consider other options because you want to actually feel safe and comfortable in the environment that you chose. The number one question, the most common question that every single person going from year 11 to year 12 asks is, what is the jump from year 11 to year 12 like? What is the difference in GCSEs to A-levels? And is it very stressful? And with those questions, they are very loaded and there's a lot to them. And honestly, there's not a clear answer for me to sit here and say, yes, they're harder and more stressful. There is so much to it, but I'm going to try and give you a quick, straight to the point explanation. Looking at it for face value, GCSEs to A-levels is a lot harder and a lot more stressful. You've got a lot more content to cover in A-levels. It's just the content really. It's massive compared to a GCSE content. And I just think you've got to be responsible for yourself a lot more. The teachers expect you to be young adults. You're not going to get as much assistance as you did in secondary school. You've got to make sure you're looking after your own notes, you're organizing yourself, you're revising for yourself. And that whole jump is scary at first and needs time for you to adjust to, because everything's scary at first when you're not used to it, but especially when it comes to school, because if you're someone who's consistently getting high grades in GCSEs and then you go to A-levels and you're not doing as good, it's very easy to put yourself down about it because you're not doing what you know and it's not what you expect of yourself. But that's because you don't really know what it should be like, so you don't have a clear understanding. On face value, they are a lot more stressful and a lot harder. However, if you consider other factors, for example, for sixth form specifically, I know I'm talking a lot about sixth form, that's because I've got personal experience. Hopefully college kind of relates in some way. But with sixth form, you've chosen 3 to 4 subjects. They're subjects that you want to do and you will have some sort of motivation and dedication to. You've also got free periods and study time. Some schools do it differently, but I had dedicated about 4 private study periods, which is where I could do loads of work, and then also a couple of frees here and there. And you've also got, it just feels like a more free environment to choose how you use your time. So yes, they may be harder, but you've got more time. In GCSEs you had a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. You've got an hour lesson, maybe a couple lessons each week, and you had to try and fit GCSE content into there. You had about 9 to 13 subjects to study for, and it was just a lot. That is why the content was reduced. But then in A level, obviously you're studying 3 to 4 subjects, so the content's bigger, but your time is bigger. And I'm not saying that you're always going to have a lot of time, because that's not the case, but if you are someone, and this is a skill that I recommend everyone tries to develop in order to help them with sixth form, but if you're someone with good time management, it's just going to make it a lot easier for you. I found that, you know, as I have good time management skills, I was able to do my homework the day that it was set, because I had private study that day, or even if I couldn't do it the day it was set, I did it in a good enough time to allow myself to be able to do other things like revising. It's all about how you view it and how you kind of take this change, because it doesn't have to be a bad thing. More work does not mean it's not manageable. Do you know what I mean? So they aren't equal. There's no, like, it doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? You can have more work but still be able to manage it maybe even better than you did in GCSEs, because you're more responsible and motivated now. Okay, so I'm now going to talk about the timetable. I am someone who loves a good old timetable, and every single video I watched before going into year 12, I was praying that someone explained what the timetable would look like, because I am obsessed and I need to know. I know this is going to be different for literally every single school, but I'm going to try and give as vague of an answer as I can to give you something that I would have wanted without confusing you, because I don't want you to realize it's nothing like that when you go to school and something like that. We talk about college first. From knowing people and hearing what they say, in college you have reduced days. So the people I know maybe go in 3 times a week and then have a couple days to study at home or do placement. So if you are going to college, that's my little bit of insight that I have. It may not be like that, but I know a lot of them are like that. So maybe if you want to, try and contact the college, maybe, or try and see if you know anyone who's there now or has left that you can kind of ask about. Because for sixth form, you're gonna be overwhelmed by excitement when you find out that you've got free periods, because free periods are just the best. I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, when I saw them on my timetable, I was gassed. I was loving it. I was like, oh my god, I've got so much time. Now, everything changes over time, so you do realize maybe you need to do some work in them, but let's just take it as it is. You're gonna have more free time, and you're gonna have lessons put on your timetable where there's nothing you need to do, and you can dedicate this to whatever you need to do. You can study, you can talk with your friends, you can see teachers and maybe ask for help for work, or you can just go out of school, and if you're lucky you can get them near the end of the day so you can finish early, or you can have a longer lunch. So I actually had it so that on some Friday mornings so I had to have form time every morning, which isn't something that every sixth form does, but in form time, we would have form time every single day apart from a Friday, and when we didn't have a first lesson on a Friday, that meant that we could start a lot later. If I didn't have a period 1, I could come in later and have a lay-in, which sleep at sixth form is a whole different topic. So free periods are very common for every sixth form to have. I mean, if you know anyone that's been at your school before, probably talk to them and see whether they can let you know how their ones were, because they might have more, or maybe they don't have any at all and you've got to make sure, but I'm pretty sure every sixth form does, just by how a timetable would work. So you got free periods, but then also you've obviously got your subjects. So if you've chosen 3 subjects, for me I chose health and social, child development and psychology. Now you have these subjects pretty much every day, so if you miss a day of school, you're basically missing a lot. And you know, obviously have days off when you need to and when you're ill, I'm one who I'm someone who, like, I get going into school and you got to have good attendance, but I never understood the obsession with coming in when you're ill. Like, why are the schools making you come in when you're ill? Like, if you need to have a day off, have it off. Like, don't even... If your teachers are like, no, you need to come in, just ignore that. If you're ill, stay home. Please, because as someone who has had people in my class that have been ill and then I became ill, it's not great. And, like, I don't blame the people because obviously it's just an illness, but, like, you don't want to be that person that is giving people colds and stuff like that. Like, so as I did say, you want to be keeping up on the work. So if you do have a day off, you've probably missed all your lessons. So you need to be contacting the teachers to get the work, because, you know, it's going to take a lot to catch up if you don't do that. And then you go back and you're doing work that doesn't even make sense. Like, you want to help yourself out and actually get it sent to you and doing it. Or even if you don't do it that day, do it when you're feeling a bit better. But make sure you get it done. So you've got free periods and you've got your lessons, but then I also had private study, which is basically a study period. So a lot of schools, I do know my friend Amy, her school has one of these, and maybe another school near me. I'm not too sure how common it is, but I do know some schools do have it. So if you don't know, a study period is just basically where you're designated a time that you should basically be studying in. As simple as that. And I think it's just to make sure that you're actually keeping on top of your work, because if I didn't have my private studies this year, I probably would have just, you know, I would have been okay and I would have kept up on things and used my free periods to study in instead. But I feel like a lot of people in my school wouldn't have done that, and they would have just used them as frees and not done their work. So it was kind of good to actually just have a period where you have an hour to just do homework or organize things, and just also have time to have a little bit of a break. Because if you are having a bit of a stressful day, you know, a free period is better. But if you don't have a free period and you have a private study, you could do some task like organizing your folder or something like that to just clear your mind. I used to just love just organizing my books and everything like that when I wasn't having too good of a day. What I would say is, if you have a lot of work and you've got stuff piling up, be wise about it and use your free periods to do it. Because although you want to use that for yourself, you know, you kind of have to weigh up whether it would be beneficial to actually just use it to get some of that work done. Because luckily I found that none of it ended up piling up for me, and I actually had enough time for myself. But it can get to the point where it does pile up if you don't use your time wisely. Okay, so next topic I have is friendships. Now, friendships are something, as someone who's very introverted and shy, like I'm quiet, I don't talk to many people, I will give you my best advice on this, because I feel like as someone who's quiet, I'm going to have a worse chance than other people. If you're very extroverted, you obviously know that you are, you know, you can easily make friends, and you can, if you're outgoing, you know that you can easily will go up to people and make friends. Obviously it's still something you're probably a bit nervous about, but as someone who's quiet, that is just, making friends is the worst thing. Like, that's something I do not want to do. So obviously starting sixth form, I was luckily going to my secondary school sixth form, but it still didn't make it any easier. Like, I fully prepared that, you know, I always prepare for the worst case scenario. So I was like, if I have no friends, I can just go to the library and eat alone. I was like, do you know what I mean? Like, worst case scenarios. But really, like, you just make friends naturally. Like, whether you're at college or a sixth form or wherever you are, you tend to just make friends naturally. And most of the time, like, if you think about it, in secondary school, do you even remember how you became friends with your friends? Like, how did that even occur? Like, because I'm someone, like, who overthinks every conversation, but now I'm thinking, like, with my friend Lily, who I kind of got close to in sixth form, because I knew of her before. Like, she was literally in my year for the whole time, and it's crazy that we'd never spoken before. Well, we had spoken, but it's like, you know, when you, like, kind of just speak to someone, you're like, oh, hi, you know, stuff like that. And now it's just, like, crazy to even think there was a point where we weren't as close as we were, because, you know, it was literally the first, like, induction day for sixth form. No, not induction day, the first day, like the actual day that we started. It was really early. I think it was like September the 1st, which, sorry, who decided that? But yeah, so I think we messaged about meeting up beforehand, and then I can't even remember how it happened, but we were just friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just became friends, and we're literally like, at school, if she's not in one day, then it's just, I know it's going to be a bad day. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you get used to a place and you get comfortable with the people, like now having finished my first year of sixth form, I'm just kind of comfortable in that environment. There are people that I'm like, I wouldn't want to be in a room with you by myself, but there tends to be at least someone I can kind of smile or just be like, okay, they're in this room with me and I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. Because I stress about people a lot when I just don't need to, and I'm trying to overcome that side of me. I'm trying to get better at actually just being calm around people, because really they don't need to be as scary as I'm making them. But yeah, like, friends will be there. Like, even if you don't make them straight away and you're having a tough time, there's going to be at one point when something clicks with someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously if you are struggling, maybe make a little bit of an effort with someone, ask about their class and stuff like that, which I know is tough, but it gets to a point where you kind of have to do it. But yeah, I just feel like, you know, in the last few weeks of year 12, I was playing games with people in my class that I knew of, and I've always known them, but I've never really been like that confident around. The class I was able to, in my, actually not in my psychology class, because that was just, that's going too far, but in my health and social and child development class, I'm literally answering questions, I'm putting my hand up, I'm not feeling ashamed of what I'm answering. That is just perfect, and I loved it. I loved year 12, and I'm scared for next year because it's going to change. But yeah, if you're going into year 12, love it, because it's good. Drama, right? There shouldn't be drama at sixth form, but why is there drama? Like, there's still drama at sixth form. Like, who wants that? I mean, to be honest, it's really interesting to listen to. Why are you having beef? Like, we're not in secondary school. And like, if it's actual like deep stuff, like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. If it's actual arguments, I'm talking about just drama. Just like, is it necessary? Why are people still doing that? Like, it gives me something to talk about, but please, if it's never going to involve me. Do you know what I mean? I'm never going to be involved in that, but just be prepared that it still happens. Just don't involve yourself in it. Some people just, I don't know, it's just something that they do. But if you think you're going to like run away to somewhere, like go to a new place and there'll be no drama at all, unfortunately, it's still probably going to be there, but just make sure it doesn't involve you and you'll be fine. Teachers. You've kind of... It's tough because you've got such a small amount of teachers compared to who you had before. And if you are going to the same sixth form as your secondary school, you're hopefully going to know your teachers. The reason I stayed at sixth form is actually because of a teacher, my health and social teacher, that gave me some good advice, and then I realised that is actually where I wanted to go. Hopefully you get some good teachers that you feel comfortable around. I had a teacher this year who was one of my psychology teachers, and she was literally like, I don't know, I've never felt that open to a teacher before. Like, I would never really like talk to a teacher. I wouldn't be giving them extra work. I would just keep to myself and just respect that they're my teacher, and that, you know, some teachers I did like more than others in secondary school, but it was never like I actually felt comfortable like to this point, because, you know, other people in my year probably have always felt comfortable with their teachers, but I just don't know. It's just something where I'm just like, no. I just feel a bit awkward in that sense, but I never felt awkward with this teacher, but she's gone now, so she left. So that's probably why year 13 is going to be bad. But anyway, you're going to try and hope and pray that you get a teacher that you're comfortable with, because I think that's why I did well in year 12, because I was doing extra work and I knew there was someone there that would help me and give me feedback. Like, I know the other teachers would, but I just felt like she definitely would. You know what I mean? And what I would just say is, like, try and get to know your teachers, and like, not personally, but like, make them aware of you and show them who you are and how your work ethic and your dedication and stuff like that. And I'm just going to kind of round off this video. Mock exams. Year 12 mock exams are weirdly important. Like, I didn't realise this, but you kind of got to do good because it's going to be on your UCAS. UCAS is a whole thing. You don't really need to worry about that in, like, right now. But it weirdly got sprung upon us in the last few weeks of year 12. So that's like a whole future problem. But yeah, mocks are kind of important, but they will be in the future. So, like, obviously, start your revision notes early. Like, as soon as you finished a topic, write them up. Like, if you spent a term on a topic, spend a couple of hours writing shortened down flashcards of it. For me, I made mind maps where I literally condensed a whole topic into 6 pages. Like, do that after you finished every topic and you are prepared for year 13. You are ready and you will do good in your tests, basically. It's not guaranteed, but it will help you a lot. Prepared early. I mean, like, everyone always says that, like, make notes early on, you need them. But, like, this is the first time that I've been like, okay, I'm doing that. I'm getting on that because I am scared for year 13. And I'm just glad I've already got notes with me. Another thing I want to say is that there is a lot happening this year, and even though I was at my sixth form, my secondary school sixth form, there was a lot of uncertainty and unknown, and it did feel a bit weird. And I still am a very quiet person. I've remained that, and I've maintained this very I don't want to talk in lesson attitude, because I'm sorry, I'm never going to want to do that. Like, I don't care whether a teacher pushes me more to do so. Like, I'm just not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not someone who will talk in lesson. But, like, what I'm saying is, if you are someone who is quite quiet and shy, this is some advice for you. Don't feel like you need to talk a lot. Obviously, try and push yourself as much as you can, but just focus on doing you and getting the grades that you want. Because I feel like I was quite, I wouldn't say different, but, like, I was the quiet one in the class, but I would always get good grades because I had my own way of working. I didn't want to do it the same as other people in the class, because they would obviously be answering more questions and being more verbal with what they were doing and how they were working. But for me, it's more just internal. I need to just be doing it by myself. If someone asks me a question in class, it takes me a good minute to kind of understand what they're actually on about, because even if I know the answer, there's another part of me, anxiety, which will be overwhelming my mind at the same time. So, you know what I mean? Like, if you are someone who is like me, very worried and anxious all the time, try to just do what you feel comfortable with, and don't feel like because it's a new sixth form you need to be pushing yourself and doing too much that you're not comfortable with. You know, stick to what feels comfortable for you and don't feel like you need to go that much. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It may, like, not make sense to some people, but for some people it will make a lot of sense. Another video will be coming soon. I don't know if it's going to be this week or it might be Monday. Like, I didn't know whether it could be an extra video, but it's basically where I'm going to be taking you through my resources and what you do need for sixth form, because sometimes people take too much, some people take too little. So I thought I'd tell you what you really need for sixth form. Another thing I just wanted to quickly mention, outfits, clothing. If you are at a sixth form, mine was very formal. If you're at a formal sixth form, you're going to want to, this is my advice, okay, get a couple of skirts. Actually, no, I had one skirt, one black skirt. Get one of them, and then if you prefer trousers, which I do, I think I have 2 pairs of trousers and then this one skirt, and then I would just get a nice top to go with them. And it tended to be just like, I had a few jumpers, I had a few tops. Like, I'm not a very fashionable person, but, like, you'll be able to find, like, if you just search up, like, business casual, you don't want to be, like, I don't know, going full out every single day. That's why I tried to find comfortable clothes that were still kind of smart, because I did not want to wear something uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that again. But then, if you're not in a formal sixth form or college, then you can just wear what you like, and I envy you. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. Anything you need will be in the description box. If you do have any more questions that I didn't mention in this video, please do let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!